Perspectives of Women in the Muslim World. A 2005 Gallup poll of U.S. households found that gender inequality was among the top responses American women gave to the question, "What do you admire least about the Muslim or Islamic world?" But how do the majority of women in several predominantly Muslim countries perceive Islam and their own status in Muslim society? It should be no surprise that most women in the Muslim world are well aware that they have the same capabilities and deserve the same fundamental rights as men. Majorities of females in each of the 8 countries surveyed said they believe women are able to make their own voting decisions, to work at any job for which they are qualified, and even to serve in the highest levels of government. Muslim women's views toward the West are complex. On one hand, high percentages associate the statement, "both sexes enjoy equal legal rights," with Western nations. Far fewer associate the same statement with Arab Muslim nations. In addition, both men and women cite political freedom, free speech, and gender equality among the most admired aspects of the West. Many women in the Muslim world disapprove of the way women are treated in Western societies, just as Western women do the treatment of women in Islamic societies. Perhaps most revealing were the responses to the question, "What is it you most resent about the West?" which often included descriptions of promiscuity, pornography, and public indecency. So while the veil is often perceived by many in the West as a symbol of women's inferior cultural status in the Muslim world, in Muslim societies, the perceived lack of modesty portrayed in Western media is thought to signal women's degraded cultural status. This ambivalent perspective on the status and values of the West can be summarized by looking at the 2 items Muslim world residents are most likely to associate with their own societies: eager to have better relationship with the Western world, and attachment to their spiritual and moral values is critical to their progress. One of the most pronounced themes to emerge from the study was the great importance Muslims attach to their faith, both for personal guidance and for the progress of society at large. For example, when asked what they most admired about their own societies, by far the most frequent response was people's adherence to Islamic values. In none of the 8 countries surveyed were women less likely to offer this response than men. What's more, Muslim women clearly tend to agree that Islamic principles should guide public policy, while relatively few women and men chose equal legal rights as a description they would associate with the Muslim world. Gender inequality did not commonly appear as an unprompted response in the poll findings. That is, unlike their American counterparts, Muslim women don't spontaneously cite gender inequality as an aspect of Islamic societies they don't like. Rather, the aspects of the Arab Muslim world that Muslim women most often said they admired least were similar to those that their male counterparts most often complained about. At the top of the list were lack of unity among Muslims, extremism, and political corruption. Do Muslim men believe women should have the same basic rights that the women themselves do? The short answer is yes, but in some cases, with less enthusiasm than Muslim women. Majorities of men in virtually every country surveyed agreed that women should be allowed to vote without influence, work at any job for which they are qualified, and enjoy the same legal rights as men. While women in the Muslim world are not slavishly uncritical of their own societies, they are far from favoring wholesale adoption of Western culture. Associating women's rights with the Western value system that men and women in the Muslim world view critically will only empower those who oppose women's rights as cultural guardians against Western hegemony.